All right, good morning, everybody. I was just telling Alex and Bob that usually attendees are slow to trickle in from the waiting room, so I like to give it a second, but I already see numbers creeping up. So I'll give it a few more seconds before we do introductions.
Yes.
All right, people are coming in now. Hello, hello, good morning. Thank you for joining us wherever you may be. I know we have folks from all over the country joining us. Feel free to say hello in the chat box if you'd like to introduce yourself. My name is Julie Gossett. I'm head of community here at Justice HQ. And today we have a public webinar open to all with Robert Simon, who is a man who has co-founded many things. One being Justice HQ, two being Attorney Share, and three, I guess, being Simon Law Group. So founded that technically. We also have Alex Becker here today, also a co-founder of Attorney Share and the CRO, and they are going to be talking about lots of things, best practices, tips, all about passive inbox money. We will have some information on Attorney Share specifically, but the bulk of this, I think, is just general kind of information and tips for y'all here in attendance today. So feel free to ask all of your questions in the chat box. I will kind of be lurking behind the scenes answering what I can when I can, but otherwise Bob and Alex will get to them when they're able to, either during or after at their discretion. So good morning, good morning. Hello in the chat box. So at this point, I will hand it over to Bob and Alex. I will turn my video off. I will turn my mic off. I will disappear into the background, but I will still be here. But let me know if you guys need anything. Otherwise, have some fun.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And I see good morning to Mimi Wong, who's a COO of Altar Air or Law. So I think this talk's going to be a lot to somebody that's an operator at a law firm, like Mimi is, the COO of a company, and also to Chris Levinson, who says hello, who I know generates and does a lot of mass tort cases, out of Calabasas. And there's Kimberly, who's, in Temecula. And the purpose of this is to kind of show some of the tricks of the trade that I've learned over the years and working with people like Alex and other folks, how to maximize every single contact point that you have as a lawyer. A lot of times when other lawyers either call us to refer a case or a consumer hits us up, there's that trust factor that they have. They're like, hey, Bob, can you help me find the best medical malpractice lawyer? Or do you do med mal? Or do you do tenant rights? And this would happen so prevalent and so often that we created a system to kind of automate that. I'll show you some of the stuff that we've done at our firm. And look, we could be better at it. I'll be upfront with you. We got in, kind of with this automation, intake stuff a lot later in the game, and I've been learning going to conferences across the nation. There's some very good conferences that I've gone to and mentors that I've found that are automating, taking cases from literally from their websites, from doing targeted campaigns. And I'll walk you through some of the stuff that we're doing, and it's working extremely well. It's working extremely low cost, and it's allowed essentially me and our firm to monetize just our brand and our brand awareness. And now everything's being able to be tracked through the other softwares that we've created. And I want to show everybody these very, very, I think, easy things to do. If you're getting I see a lot of people on here or big on social media, and I think that's a powder keg. And Alex is going to show you what I call turning DMs into dollars with an automated process to help every consumer that hits you up that has a trust factor with you to be able to monetize it. And I do think this is now the era. This is a national practice of law. It's a lot of people get lost of just being in their specific geographic zone, but you should be in your specific geographic zone, and everybody should know who you are, what you do, easy to refer you a case. But you shouldn't think if you get a call about a semi case in Tennessee that there's no way for you to be able to find the best partner, get a referral fee for it or a co-counsel fee to give your client the best experience and also help you out so you can have more infrastructure and money to grow your practice. Then I think it's a national practice law. And if you haven't noticed, we've been getting everybody across the nation, trial lawyers have been getting massive verdicts because the juries understand the value of things. And I think they're going to try to cap our fees across the nation. And this is some of the reasons why. some of the Girardi scandal and, people turning a blind eye, people stealing from clients, and they're using things like this in our state, in other states, to be able to use it to try to say, hey, lawyers are making too much. We have to be able to put a limit on how much attorneys can receive. We have to not allow, certain people to run law firms and that kind of thing. And there is some good to that, obviously, that I think honestly, I think the state bar doesn't do enough. They should do a lot more for things like this. But this is kind of where it's going, where you're going to have this battle, and a lot of people that are listening and watching right now understand a very, very what's happening in the industry nationwide is there's a lot of outside money, outside law firm money, outside lawyer money that's coming into the space that's betting heavy because they see the margins that we make as lawyers, and they've created this thing called an ABS in Arizona. A lot of people in here do not know what that is, but there is a mechanism of which non-lawyers can own law firms in Arizona. And I put this, article here because you can Google, you can find a lot of information out about it. But I think there's a few hundred, if not more, that are been approved and more pending. That they have these, lead gen companies that are now creating their own law firms, and they're allowed to refer cases out with very specific rules outside of even Arizona to get a percentage of that fee. Now, what does that mean for all of you? Is if you create the right relationships and understand this is a national practice, and if you go to these conferences and if you get in the room with the people that are the head of these ABS firms, the smart ones understand that the quicker they can get it to the best lawyer for that specific case, the more money that they will make, because that's all that they really care about, right? It's if private equity comes in, they just want to make more money and higher margins. They do that by getting it to the best lawyer possible, and they should know that that's you. They should know that that's you 100%. You should make it easy for them to know that it's you. But make no mistake about it, they're betting big on our industry. Ton of money coming in. And this is where I think all of you should use your license. I put my boy McLovin up here. By the way, I think Hawaii is a bar where you have to take you have to take the bar there. They don't wave anybody in. So like Brett Schreiber, Matt Clendenin just got licensed there, just passed the bar. I know they're doing a lot of fire cases there. But just as an example of, this is a fake license, but McLovin, my man here. But this is like a perfect example of how you can use your license. And look, unfortunately, some people think it's like soured upon to ask for referral fee. And unfortunately I see a lot of, women in the industry say like, hey, I'm afraid to ask for referral fee by generating a case or general lead. You should not have that fear. It should be an honor for you to find the best lawyer for your case and still act as what I call the general co-counsel for that case, or the general counsel, to get them the best experience, right? So you should be able to use your license and monetize it. But there are certain states that don't allow you to fee split or co-counsel, just depending on the wording. Like I know in Florida, they limit you to like a 25% referral fee. You have to show some.
Colorado's, you have to be co-counsel.
Yep. Oklahoma co-counsel, then there's Ohio co-counsel, and New Jersey, it's even weird. I think you have maybe like some licensed lawyer to a licensed lawyer, but whatever. But the point of it is, check your jurisdiction, but there's no reason for you to feel bad about monetize, because you have a goodwill that you've created as a lawyer. You have a brand, right? Like you see all the stuff that we're doing on social media, you see all the interviews that you're doing. That is, you're putting a lot of money, time, and effort to be that trusted voice. So if somebody hits you up and it's outside your jurisdiction, it's outside your practice area, it's outside your specialty, you have put in the work to get to that person, to them to trust you, and now you should find the best trusted partner, right? So that's kind of what you should be building, because when you go back to these folks that are creating the private equity lead generation marketing firms, it's going to be very hard to compete with those dollars.
Well, they're also focused on whatever's best for them, not really the client, and I think that's like the other piece of referrals that are really important, is that these people don't know who to hit up, right? They hit you up, and we want the stewards of the industry to put them in the right place, right? There's a slide later, like to find their Messi, to find their Taylor Swift, right? They're LeBron, right? Of who can maximize the results for the client. And if you do good by the client, you do good by yourself. And like you said, Bob, you have the right to receive a referral fee for doing that, right? So I think the stigma there is like is I think it's justified with these ABSs coming in, dumping tons of money in and trying to like money grab. But at the same time, I think like the people that are in this webinar really should feel empowered to find these people the right, attorney for the matter, right?
Yeah, and a lot of times it's you, sometimes it's not you, but this is like, yeah, I mean, one thing I've learned is don't you grow more as a lawyer in a law firm by taking cases that you're comfortable working on and maximizing. If you need a partner, and I've done it many times, like I brought in specialists on, like I brought Shauna O'Neill on recently for um a nursing home abuse case because that's his specialty, and we'd share the points, and then I'll come and try the case with him. But don't be afraid to do that because you maximize the result for your client. You still get to celebrate and advertise the wins, which generates more of these referrals. And when Alex speaks, by the way, Alex not only is co-founder attorney share, but he did lead generation for a law firm out of Chicago for many, many years. So he knows the game of being able to be a straight referral partner, then finding the best referral sources and being able to do those things. And a lot of times it's about, who do you know to be able to refer that case? And a lot of times I want to be the person known, honestly, like to be the lawyer that people want to contact in California. I just want them to think that if I had a California case, hit up Bob. Now, it might not be a case for me, but that's the brand that I want to build. So I want everybody here to be cognizant of that as well. We'll go a little bit deeper into like some social media hacks and tricks and stuff that are very easy and free to do. And this is, I put up Trial Lawyers for Justice because I think they do a brilliant job. Jacob Norman, Kelly Hanker, Nick Rowley, Henry P. Core, all those people, Keith Bruno, Angela Bruno, is they've specialized and put a brand out there of just being badass trial lawyers. And now they're very easy to find and partner with, and they do it nationwide.
Mm-hmm.
So they've found a way that they can take a case anywhere in the country. If it's a great case, get it. You can find local counsel. And, one thing I've learned of trying a lot of cases, especially ones out of state, is local counsel matters a whole heck of a lot. Don't be afraid to give up 5 or 10% of your points equity in the case to get a specialized local counsel that knows that courtroom, that knows that clerk, that knows that judge. Because you're doing stuff in Texas, I'll tell you right now, Texas is a big state, but it's small courthouses, man. And you get hometown. I don't care. Like we have an office in Austin. If we're out in, Southeast Texas, they don't give a shit that you're from Austin. I mean, if you don't have a local counsel, you will get hometown. So just something to be cognizant of.
The other thing with TL4J here is that they literally have a section of their site that's attorney referrals, right? Like they understand that they are being hit up by attorneys, maybe they're pre-lit firms or again, they need a specialist or a hitter. So they're literally, I think that's another thing that you should embrace and this industry needs to embrace is it's not just a client contact. And I think, to be honest, Bob's done a good job of this with some like the Bourbon of Proof and some of the other stuff, but it's attorney contact referrals, right? And like TL4J is a prime example of someone that's leaning in, embracing that, so.
Yeah. And I built our entire practice has been what I call business to business referrals from other lawyers. And that's if you watch all the media, all the social media, Instagram, like I'm literally showing lawyers how they can have a better lifestyle by working together, right? That's what I like to do. It's what I love to do. I have not been in the direct to consumer space, which we're going to talk about, and how people are going direct to consumer and have operations. And for the first time, we're doing I've never done SEO before, but we hired LawRank to start to do that, to revamp our website, because now that we have automations in place, which I'll show you, that we have a place to automatically put all of these cases in volume, even if we say no. Like my idea is, hey, as a law firm, we will take the biggest cases that are in our wheelhouse. Everything else will now be able to use our goodwill, what we've been paying for SEO, all these other things, to place with another firm for a percentage and track it, right? At least I saw a question pop up on here. Well, you guys can't see all the questions here. Someone spelled butt with 2 T's. I love it. Yeah. All right. I'll get to that in 1 second. So this is just, I view it as the consigliere, the general counsel. You know, this is from The Godfather, but I like to think of myself as the general counsel for every client that calls, and you direct traffic for them. So like a company has a general counsel, and they're usually not going to litigate every one of those cases that come in. If they need a specialized law firm, a lawyer, they're going to find it, monitor it, make sure that their client is their company is happy with the experience. It's the same thing. Like, stay in contact with a client. You can get them to the right person, make sure that that law firm's held accountable because it's your referral, right? That's the way that I like to think of it. So don't think that you just hand them off and maybe you're done, but it's good to think of it as a general counsel. All right, marketing. So I'll show you, obviously this is a lot of stuff I do with Instagram, but I just put it up here just to remind all of you that this is a billboard. They talk about billboards, 70,000 impressions a day sitting on like freeways in LA. Well, guess what? You're getting more with your billboard on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on TikTok, on Facebook. And don't sleep on Facebook. Facebook is still by far and away the most eyes on it. And if you're doing niche practice, if you're doing work, we do a lot of, clients that only speak Spanish. They're all on Facebook. They're all on Facebook communities. And if you look at be in as many Facebook communities as you can, be active. That's how you generate a notoriety being a lawyer. So if they go back to your page, if you comment on something or they see you or you're doing a digital ad, like I'll do some of those, they'll go back to your profile. And if your profile is private, first of all, they'll be like, why would I talk to this person? It's private. I don't know what they are. And if they don't put what they do, what states they practice in, or anything about them, it's going to be a problem. So there has to be what I call a call to action. So I could, like, come on, we're going to start putting here with attorney share, like a direct link where people can refer a case directly into us with right of first refusal. We're building that. But right now they can go to our link tree, which has all of our different stuff. They can go to our website. They can see every company I'm associated with. They can see every state that I'm part of. And it frustrates me to no end whenever a lawyer will DM me and say, hey, I need help about, case or blah, blah, blah. And I go back to their profile and it's private. I don't know what state they're in. I have to ask these questions or even find out what their name is and Google them to try to find to help them, right? So, and I get it. People want to be private, and that's fine. Then have a public-facing profile, company profile, right? Because I think people would be shocked. Like I know some of my friends that are big legal influencers. My friend Jefferson gets over 1,000 DMs a day, easy, over 1,000, right? But they know that they should know what he is and what he does. Like if you go to Ryan Steigar, big employment lawyer, fighting for employee rights, you go to his profile, that's what he is and what he does. And he's made it real easy for you to be able to do that. But look, this is just a reminder that what you're putting yourself out there as your brand is a billboard. It's how consumers are going to interact with you. It's how other lawyers are going to find and be able to refer you cases. Yeah. And then Nicole and the people, Justice HQ, if you're members, they can help you with your socials to make sure that they do this. It's part of the packaging and messaging that we do, because I'm a very, very big believer that this is free, something free that you can do. Look, and if you get 1 or 2 cases a month from it, you've done your job, right? So I think it's a big point. So this is, and Alex is going to show you one thing that
Hey, Bob, before you guys move on real quick, just a hot tip as I'm lurking myself on here. For those of you who are on Instagram, you do have those public profiles. What Bob is talking about, like clients or attorneys are going to come to your pages and creep around, right? If you're not utilizing that pin feature on Instagram, I think you should. Even if you have a very simple graphic that just says, hey, this is who I am, here's my practice areas or recent results, you can pin that in Instagram, no matter what type of account you have, even if it is a private. But if you have a business, individual account, creator account, that pin feature is available to all of you. So I definitely recommend, even if you're posting content all the time, choose the top 3 things that are very reflective of who you are, your skill sets, and some of your results. And that is the fastest way for someone to basically verify your skill set, right? So they don't have to go to your website. They do 1 click on your profile. 3 pinned posts are more important than you think they are. So,
sure.
And you can do that with reels as well. You can have 3 pinned reels on Instagram. in addition to 3 pinned posts on your main feed. So just wanted to throw that in there. I'm going to disappear. Bye.
And Julie's very, so that pin, which so those are the ones that stay at the top of your profile. And there's workshops that we do to be able to help people. It's very, I mean, again, this is free stuff to be able to do, but you want to pin those things. Like I did it intentionally on the ones, like if you go to my reels, it'll tell a little bit about my family. I have a little of my highest view reel, so people know that like I got lucky a couple of times, right? And so that's what I'm actually trying to create, that experience. So if I go like, yeah, I have one funny me riding a Zamboni. I have one with LeBron James that almost got 1 million views. I did another funny legal one. And if you go to my pinned ones, it's like my family, a funny one I do with Tip for the Scales that tells my story. So people click on that, they can hear my like lawyer story. But it's very, very intentional to be able to do that. But this is free stuff, right? Another thing is Alex going to walk us through how you can have these automations to grab these people that talk to you on Instagram, Facebook, or whatever, and it's going to port automatically into your lead gen system and into attorney share if you want to monetize it, if you don't do it. So Alex, show us this stuff because this is new and exciting.
Yeah, so there's a solution called ManyChat. There are a few others out there, but basically whenever someone DMs you, they could be responding to like a reel, a comment, whatever, you can trigger these automations and you can tailor them to the jurisdiction and practice area that you care about, right? But if you notice, even if it's not in California, even if it's in California, but not employment for this specific attorney, they're still monetizing those leads, right? And I think it's important because these people are hitting them up, right? A lot of people, again, it goes back to like, they don't know what they don't know, right? I think there's a curse of knowledge for attorneys, right? Where it's obvious what you do or don't do, or who's the best in the jurisdiction, right? But regular people don't know that, right? Just the potential clients don't know that. And so, look, I think one of the most important things for scaling a firm is centralizing where all of your potential leads go. And, a year and a half ago when I started kind of talking with Bob and working through kind of what attorney share would look like, Bob really kind of, I think, transformed his firm by centralizing where his phone calls, where his leads, where, website leads, where his socials, where Bourbon Approved all go to. And I think this is a prime example and a pretty low lift. I think it's $100 a month or something for this specific one. But I mean, look at the power of this, where you can be like, oh, you're not looking for representation. Great. That's going to go to my DM. I'm going to mark that as unread as well, so I know to respond. Yes, you're looking for representation. And then you tailor the kind of stream to what you're looking for, what you're not looking for. And you could have it go like, so for this one specifically, if it's in California and an employment matter, it goes to schedule a 15-minute consultation with them. If it's not, it goes to a different intake source to go to attorney share, right? Which we'll talk about in a little bit. But I think this is a prime example of not, Bob nailed it. It's a billboard. There's best practices. It's kind of like a modified Google My Business listing, right? When you search and you see your business, it's slightly like that, but this is how you can, then take it to the next level, especially if you're running media, like paid dollars, which I think Bob's going to talk about a little bit. But this is a pretty low lift, new, exciting. We built this out for a partner of ours. So.
Yeah, and I mean, so he's qualifying cases for an employment case. So pretty much you're having them click buttons that are going to say, do you like this case or not, right? Is this a certain criteria when you're pre-screening it? So what we do with these are auto prompts that fill into our case management system. So I know a lot of people in here are on lead docket because I could see the list. It'll autofill your lead docket. It'll autofill your Clio Grow. It'll autofill whatever that you want it to go. So that from there, you have a case sitting there that's either a matter that you want, and we'll show you how you can push a button. If it's not something you want, you can push it into attorney share to monetize that referral or to put it into the marketplace to see if somebody else can help that consumer, right? But so what I've learned how to do is create these prompts, not necessarily for the cases that you'll take, but for other types of cases that can be lucrative that you're pre-screening those answers. So what I've done, for instance, on disability cases, I went to this one gal in Austin, Madison Donaldson, who's fantastic at disability cases. And I said, hey, what are the questions you need to know whether or not you need to take them? So if you go through like my click buttons on whatever, you click disability, which I know I'm not going to do, a consumer's answering those questions that's going to qualify a case that I can send directly to her through attorney share to monetize a referral to a specialist that I will never touch, but I know she's the best. And I knowing my limitations, I'm not going to take it. But that's where like people on here that I saw Chris Levinson on the chat, who's probably mastered the ability to find the best mass tort lawyers, might be him, might be somebody else, to go get those cases and send it over. You could do the same thing with any mass tort. It's just a matter of creating these workflows. Like, were you hurt by like you have a case for Ozempic? Did you were in a fire? Now you might not do those cases, but there's nothing stopping you from getting a percentage of the fee and pushing to the right person. But having all these automations set up, I'm telling you, it's gold. And I encourage every single person, I don't care if you're a solo, if you have 100 lawyers, you should be on some kind of case management system. I don't care which one it is, but you should use it. You should know how to take it from intake to monetization and know some little levers that you can push, because as you grow, you want to be able to track all that data and keep it. Look, for many years, we were just on folders and spreadsheets and stuff like that. And we've learned, and it's been so much easier, since we kind of went through these kind of workflows. Don't get lost. Like you don't have to reinvent the wheel. And I can see a lot of people that I think are some of the best lawyers, and, I see somebody that generates a crap ton of cases I could see that's in the attendee list. And I mean, they're doing it nationwide from what now that I understand. And it's just a good example of they probably didn't learn by themselves. There's other mentors that have already built these types of workflows and funnels, that have already been specialized lawyers in their spaces that are good at getting referrals. If you put yourself in the rooms with these types of people, they can teach you how to build what they built without you having to just do it on your own. So get in that circle of folks that you think do it very well. And lawyers, we're very open with our time. Like, we love to teach and do these things. This is kind of the stuff that we want to push, to put yourselves in the right circles, to be able to learn how to do it. And sometimes you can find these people at conferences, right? This is a lot of the stuff that we do with the Just HQ stuff. Is we have these, workshops with people that are specialists in their spaces. It's easy to contact your mentors. It's easy to be on the Slack chats to ask direct questions, not just talking, at you, but with you, to kind of get in that experience of how do I help me for my specific situation? Because everybody's different, right? I had to move my bar here because I covered my screen. Conference circuit. All right. So I used to think that the world was just Southern California, and there were like 2 conferences I go to a year, and was always talking to the same people. And I was figured out all the best people to talk to, got in my specific circles. And then I realized, holy crap, there's this whole national thing of masterminds and conferences that people are very specialized in, like the business of law, right? They actually have a conference called the Business of Law that the National Child Lawyers do, which is excellent, which teaches a lot of this stuff. But then I started to learn, hey, what are some of the conferences that I can go, not only to learn, but to be that known as the California trial lawyer. So I go to these conferences with extreme intent, try to find out everybody that's going, find everybody that's, that I could work with. Either there might be somebody on technology side that I want to meet. It might be another trial lawyer that I want to be in my circle. It might be a person that's doing a lot of volume that might want to start opening up cases in Arizona or California or Texas, that we could probably be right of first refusal for them. So those are the relationships you want to nurture, but be intentional about it. Yeah, they're fun, but these are also the best place to be able to network on scale and make money. So I know there's some coming up. Well, I don't know if TBI Med Legal is going on anymore, but a couple weeks we got the Dornick Trial College. Be a lot of trial lawyers there. We do the Permanent Proof Tour. We're in Arizona next week, in May 9th. If anybody wants to come hang out, it's always free. But we're doing something called the Permanent Proof Tour, where we have the best lawyers in that community come and share not their success stories, but kind of how they build it and how hard it was in the beginning, and just give real feedback to people on how they can help them on their journey. Because again, we're big on mentorship and talking with people. Now that's going out on the ground. That's getting on a plane. That's getting
Really quick, can you just tell the story of like how it was Gary, right? Who you like sought out and
Yeah. So I always wanted to be like Gary Dordick. Like I remember I was renting a small office in West LA, paying like $1,700 a month, and this was 2010, 910. As a solo, it was my little brother and a copier, and we were renting an office from Mike Hughes. And if you don't know Mike Hughes, he was like one of the most famous trial lawyers. He had big tobacco for billions. He used to get sanctioned and would pay sanctions in pennies, like funny shit, but not a great mentor. Like the guy would just be there yelling at people all day. But I was just leasing an office from him. But one day, Mike Alder used to work there. Gary Dordick used to work there. Roberta Morowski. But one day, Gary Dordick came in a fucking tracksuit just to have a meeting with Mike Hughes, his old mentor. And I was like, who's this dude in a tracksuit? And then I started reading up on him, and I saw the advocate. And I mean, he's one of the biggest hitting trial lawyers. Like, wait, I want to be the dude that walks up in a tracksuit that's one of the most famous trial lawyers. And like, how do I get access to this guy? So I would just like try to find out where he was going to be. Found out he was speaking at some, the Santa Monica Bar Association on opening statements. And I'll never forget, he went up there and started calling it opening arguments, and the judge kept yelling at him. And he's like, yep, you do it until the judge yells at you twice, and then you stop doing it. But I literally had to stalk the guy. Then again, it became, hey, let's go out to lunch. Let's become friends. And now he's one of my best friends, but I literally had to stalk somebody and find him at a conference. Now it's so much easier. This is in the world of the digital machine, everybody's one DM away from helping you, to responding. Everybody. And I think you should be open to it as a person helping somebody else for free. I do it all day. And on the other end of thing, don't be afraid. What are they going to do if they don't respond? So what? If they say no, so what? That's how you get yourself in those circles. And this is where the digital networking, I call it, is being on social media. Some people don't do well in social situations. That's fine. Like you probably do better by creating back-end systems, do digital networking. I have a lot of friends that we DM all day. I've never met them. And then when I do meet them, like we're like, oh my God, we're best friends. Or like, holy shit, you're taller than I thought you were. Like Joe Volta, I see him on here. So look at, dude, you're like 6'2", like you lanky MF, right? So, but it took me a year or two before I even met the guy, but I always felt like he was my good friend. And that's kind of what you can create, that culture digitally. That's why I keep talking about this national practice. But I know, for instance, with Joe, because before we even became friends, if I have a case in the Carolinas, and now I know he's doing Ohio and Maryland, but in the Carolinas, I'm like, Joe's my first call, because he positioned himself as that, just from DMing people and talking and being active as the Carolina lawyer, right? So, but it works. I mean, it works. I'm not following. Let me see if there's anything on the chat, Alex, you want to throw out, because as I go through this. But this is some of the stuff that I do, and it's all very intentional. So all like the media stuff that I do, I get a lot of cases from our podcasts, from Bourbon of Proof, from all these things, all the events that we do, and it's all directed. Again, I get referrals from other lawyers. So I'm in the mindset of the education comes first, and it should be free. That's why we give it on the media stuff. But if you go to like justicesteamnetwork.com, if anybody clicks a button to be a guest or schedule a case consultation, guess what's happening on the back end? It's all going directly into my lead generation, my case management system. From there, it's qualifying the case if it's a case consultation. And it's being monetized, either my firm takes it or putting it to the marketplace. This website don't cost a lot of money to make. Anybody can have it. There's nothing stopping you from we use a company called Law Broker, and I put a code up for them because it's so low cost for them to create these click funnels for you. And you're just getting you're getting the lead information. Remember, if they're coming to your website, if they're clicking they're coming there for you. So it's a little more like, it's not like a Google ad. And we could talk about like local service ads and Google ads, where people are literally just clicking Google, finding whatever lawyer can hit them back the fastest. That way you can act really fast. But a lot of times if people are coming directly to your website and you can track it, they're coming there for you. And they're going to find who the best referral partner is. But what I do through these click funnels, if you go through any of them, I'm qualifying you as like a lawyer to refer cases, doing something funny, or if you're clicking for a specific case, I'm qualifying the case either for my firm or for somebody else's, but it's all auto-populating. The key here, this is auto-populating. We picked fields that match, that go directly from this click funnel directly into our lead management system. that match the same fields then go into attorney share if we say no to the case at the firm. This is the automation everybody should be doing, and it's so easy to do. Again, put yourself out there as a lawyer that can help with everything. Why shouldn't you have a banner ad or a button on here for every mass tort case? Just ask somebody that does them, what are you looking for? And let me push the case directly to you through attorney share. It's so easy to do that now. And we've been killing since we did this. I can see where all my return referrals are coming from. And this is something else that we do. Again, this is so inexpensive. I put up a podcast room in one of our offices, and I can create content all day. Now, the hardest thing to do after you create the content is, how do I edit it? How do I put it out there? That takes a lot of money and experience, right? But it does. You got to see what you need to do. But this is an episode I did with Ray from Even Up on artificial intelligence. We shot this, and then we ran it through, took the raw data, I pushed into this one thing called Get Munch AI, and the AI just gets like the 30 best clips for you, puts the words on them, and even suggests the social media post to push it right through. Yes, it takes some editing, it takes some stuff if you want to make it perfect, but this shows how easy it is. And that subscription is like $40 a month, maybe, to be able to do this on a massive volume. So your content is out there. Again, you're a specialist in this space. You're talking about it. People see it. They remember it. Now you just have artificial intelligence doing it for you. But this is what I do, and I think it's pretty easy. And if you go to my website, you see my dad. I just put this up here because I think it's hilarious that his write up here talks about driving tractor trailers for 37 years, but then getting beat by nuns at a Catholic grade school that he attended. And he has this in his write-up. But anyway, on the right here, you can see my face. It says you have a question, text us. So I have a chat bot on there too. So there's another way for people to find us. And that's when they find us there, it's not unintentional, because I'm doing what I'm calling targeted ads for people to go back to our website to be able to pre-qualify. So this is just an example of when I take those clips of what I've done as a podcast, I run it through an AI to be able to get the clip. I then turn that into an ad that is targeting lawyers or targeting people at a conference. And it's very low spend. Like, I one popped up today. It's like a couple $100 that I ran ads for this other conference. People are out to see my face all the time just to see a show that we're doing for the Justice Team Network. And if they click on it, I now have their data. We can retarget them. But it's, again, a very, very low cost thing to be able to do it. But it sets me up for attorney referrals and for them to know me as the trusted lawyer in California. But there's no reason all of you should not be doing that. And Alex, I know you have a lot of knowledge on this type of stuff on the back end with digital ads and stuff, because I'm going to read these questions real quick. There it is.
Yeah, no, for sure. So, I mean, look, like, and there's, like Bob said, it's not expensive to get these up and running. And once you actually start running these ads, you can actually kind of do a lot with the information you're given. So like Bob mentioned quickly, like retargeting, there's different levels of that. It could be someone that viewed, someone that clicked, someone that interacted with your page. You could actually target people that have interacted with other pages. And then another cool thing you can do is actually create lookalikes. So like if you have a bunch of customers, you can upload that as like a seeded audience, or a bunch of attorneys you work with. You could upload that to Facebook as a seeded audience and create a lookalike audience. So, Facebook they look at thousands of different pieces of information to try to find a different subset of people that kind of look exactly like the people you're targeting. So there's a lot of powerful things you can do here. Geo-targeting, right? I mean, that's the difference, I would say, between Bob just posting to his socials versus paying. You can geo target exactly where you want ads to run and hone in on kind of the geos you're looking for.
Yeah, geo-targeting. So you could do, like, I'll do conferences where people are, so they see my face all the time. No, you cannot do hospitals that actually violate shit, but you can do check cashing places. You can do stuff like that where your consumers may be. At Just HQ, I think next Friday we have Jen Forster coming on for networking goals and how to achieve them and set them. And I would love to have with Alex to do like a recurring workshop theme with all of our members to be able to sit down with their back ends and just try to help tie things together in simple solves. Because you click, you change little different things and you might be very surprised on how many more cases referrals come in. And with automation, it makes it so much easier and it gets fun. Like, I love doing these shows and stuff like that. And Yeah.
No, I was gonna say also, like, you know, the cool thing about like a get munch or whatever is it creates a bunch of different variations. So like you can see they're pretty similar. Obviously there's a Facebook versus Instagram, but they're pretty similar, but you could see Bob's head on the right versus the mic on the left. Those things you could test, right? The other thing, Bob, you can't target hospitals, but there's probably a Starbucks near that hospital you could target.
There we go. Spoken like a true digital marketing degenerate. There's
Real quick before you guys head over to the next section, I consider myself the queen of being scrappy and trying to spend as close to $0 as possible with everything I'm doing. I was looking at the attendee list and I see there's a couple solos on here, and I'm sure there's folks that are like, I don't need another subscription, I don't need another app. ChatGPT is free. And as long as you know how to ask it the right prompts, it can take you really far in terms of figuring out your audiences, testing different types of content, getting different variations of copy for social media posts. A lot of this stuff, you know, Bob is talking about running ads and geofencing that will cost money. There's also a whole world of marketing that is free and scrappy. And that is where I kind of, that's my niche. I don't like to spend a single dollar on anything, work or personal. So if anybody wants the scrappy advice, you can send me a DM. But I use ChatGPT a lot. As long as you tell it to act like somebody in a higher role, it spits out different responses. So if you want to start running ads, say, act like a director of marketing, turn this blog into a lead generation advertisement for a law firm, blah, blah, blah. You can get really, really specific. And our CEO is saying I'm cheap as hell. I take it as a compliment. But you know, there's different ways to approach all this and tap into your networks and kind of foster those relationships with your network. I think of JHQ members like Michelle Fonseca Camana. I talk to her all the time. She is also the queen of being scrappy. She doesn't want to spend money on things, but a lot of people know her for Lemon Law, West Coast Lemons, and she does it with free tools for the most part. So there are ways to do it for cheap, for free. As you kind of grow and scale, you look into these more robust platforms that you can bring in more cases and then send them to better and more robust homes as you grow and as all of your networks grow. And I think that's the point. So no matter where you are in this fostering your network process, there is a starting point for you. So, and
Julie,
with that,
you should make some prompts. Like, so that'd be interesting. I don't know, just having a conversation here, but I think that'd be interesting to like share with the members of this call, the JHQ community, attorneyship community, how you do.
yeah, I think with this whole thing is like, no matter where you are in your, you know, level of practice or where you are as an attorney, everybody's time is so valuable to, you know, personal life, professional life. Your time is the most valuable asset you have, and you need to spend it wisely. And then your money is also need to be spent wisely. So I'm happy to do, you know, the queen of scrappy kind of AI prompts that I use, but I'll disappear back into the background now. Maybe I'll pop in
yeah.
more hot scrappy tips from me. Okay, bye.
Julie's so thrifty. She bought chickens and built a coop so she didn't have to pay for eggs anymore. I mean, this is all how dialed in she is. By the way, follow her journey on Instagram with building chicken coops and stuff. It's very, very impressive. But you know, this is true because a lot of stuff you should be doing for free. Like Canva has great AI stuff that can do a lot of this stuff for you. You know, I know Michelle Lemon Law, I think Lemon, she's mastered that stuff as well. So there's different tiers to it. I'm just like the paid stuff that we're doing is so like it's so inexpensive. Like people be shocked how low it is.
Yeah,
But
like $50 will go a long way.
yeah, and the ROI is insane. As long as you know what to put on, the return on investment is huge. Because again, if I'm getting one referral from a lawyer that's in like Wisconsin and sees my stuff, we develop a relationship. I get one case from that person, that could be $100,000 for what? For $50. So yeah, but you got to be set up on the back end so to do that first. All right, so this is something Alex and I kind of riffed on. So this is so Clio announced they have a partnership with Google for their local service ads. So you can actually have your local service ads go through directly through Clio, so you could track everything. We have, like, for instance, Maria at LawRank is running our Google ads that are going directly through our systems to be able to push where we wanted to do it. So here's the caveat with Google ads is it's competitive, right, Alex? I mean, this shit's competitive.
It's
And
expensive,
it's expensive.
especially if you don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
You will
This
lose.
is something I would never say, like, unless you have sophistication in this area, this is something you don't go at it alone. Because this is more of, if you go to Google right now, if you're Googling a restaurant in the area where you want to go, if you call the first place and they don't pick up or they're not around, you're going to call the second place. Guess what? Same thing with lawyers. And if you're not there and can't pick up the phone and you don't have the systems in place, they're going to go to the next person, then the next person, because they're not there to find, they didn't go there to find you specifically. They just went to find like a lawyer in Alabama, for instance. So just be cognizant, this is a different game. It does work, but you have to have all these other things going on, these other systems, and likely somebody running your machine. Do you agree with that, Alex?
I agree. Yeah, no, I mean, like, it's if someone's looking for you, they're seeking you out, and they'll kind of go with your process and time frame. You know, you see the example there, family lawyer near me. Like, these people, it's instant gratification. They want instant gratification. They want someone on the phone, or they want to get an email back in 5 minutes. And if you don't do that, you paid, some of these keywords could be, not just this local ads, but they could be a couple $100 for one click, and you can lose that just by not missing the call, or taking too long to follow up or whatever, because they're dialing. You see those three people, they're hitting up every one of them until they find the first person that gets back to them.
Yeah, man. So something else. So this is where I was also put here. So if you're like, we talked about free tier, we talked about that kind of mid spend on digital stuff. And look, I know a lot of lawyers that are just doing selfie videos on, like, again, I'll use Ozempic for instance. Hey, you heard about these cases with Ozempic, here's some little bit of education for it. Click here for more information. Those selfie video ads crush, and they're just running a digital ad targeting specific types of consumers. They're getting that lead, putting it in their hub, and sending it out, referring it out. I mean, I know a couple lawyers that are doing like a few thousand cases a year just doing that, and it's not expensive for them. But they do have processes in the beginning. They do have virtual assistants doing their intake for them, processes. But people making a killing just referring like that. And you could do a hybrid. Like, why not be the best trial lawyer that you possibly be in your specific cases, but then also market cases that you're not specifically taking to monetize them? So, but here's the biggest tier is like hiring experts to do it for you. We put a bunch of ones up here that I think are excellent at what they do, that I've met their owners, and I think they're fantastic. Chris does that, and also coaching and put you in the best places. Quintessa's generating a lot of good leads across the country, and I believe in their founder. She's awesome. These are people that you can buy their leads. You can work with them to do it for you. But, again, get in that mentor circle to figure out how it works, who's working for them. Do you have the processes in the background before you even get started with this? And it took me a long time to be able to even say, hey, Maria, can you help me with SEO? Because I wanted to make sure we had the infrastructure on the back end. And Alex had to build a lot of that with us too, to push directly through his attorney share if we say no to it, because I wanted to find a home for these cases and monetize it, or else I wasn't going to jump into the spend.
Yeah, and I think, like, you can also, like, like Bob said, it's like, do the free stuff, right? Do the hustling, the blood, sweat, and tears stuff. Get a case 2, 3. Take that settlement, put it into local services ads or some paid social, right? Get a case, then put it into kind of this bucket, right? And these any of these partners can take you to the next level, but remember, spend can be low end 3 to 5,000 a month, high end 50 to 100,000 a month. Like, it's real spend. But again, how many leads can you get? How many cases can you get?
Yeah, and look, and I think, and I've been exploring, like, what's it going to be like about paying for leads or case acquisitions if they're vetted, if they have the criteria, if they help you sign them. Now that we have the back end to be able to send cases that are too small for us, but you have to do that balance, right? You don't want to be that firm that's taking on 1,000 cases a month, but you're not paying attention to them, or you don't have the infrastructure to do something with it. And that's why we're going to create what Alex is going to work us through, how you can use those systems to create what we call passive money or inbox money with these click funnels, with using social media correctly. And then you get in a cycle of taking money that you've gotten in return from referral fees or cases that were referred to you, and placing it back into these systems, whether it's like digital marketing, whether it's doing your own podcast, to be that specialist in your space to get that notoriety and putting it back into here. And with your back end automations, you're going to start seeing that just flow of money coming in and coming in. And there's no better return for anything in this world. Honestly, that's why private equity is coming in than these cases. It's just not. Like, the verdicts are getting bigger, the settlements are getting bigger. There are better laws coming out for the most part across the country for states, for consumers. And I think this is the goal, is we want to find everybody to find their best lawyer for them very quickly. Sometimes it's you, sometimes it's not. They need Messi as a specialist sniper, kicker, or whatever he does, right? He passing the ball, the football. And we were actually watching Taylor Swift this morning with the girls on her Disney special. And sometimes they need Taylor Swift. But this is, take pride in knowing the ability to get to the best lawyer for your client. Either way. So Alex is going to show you, and Alex, I'm going to let you show all these automations we have with Attorney Share. And it's software, so it scales and it's easy. So we made it all free for people to put in cases. If you know who you're sending it to, it's all free. The only thing that ever costs money ever is if you're picking a case off of what's called the public marketplace, which Alex is going to show you how the automations that he's created with case management platforms are going to make everybody's life a whole lot easier on either end. Either you're the specialist sniper lawyer on one end, picking up cases, or you're the person putting it in, but hopefully you're a hybrid of both. Yeah. So Alex, I'm going to stop and you're going to go.
Yes, sir.
Get your popcorn on.
Yeah. So look, Bob mentioned Attorney Share. We're 5 weeks live nationally. We've picked up some decent momentum. I mean, there's 200 cases in the marketplace. We're adding 60, 50, 60, 70 a day in the public marketplace, and then obviously a bunch of private cases through Waterfall. But look, this is live. These are real cases. So I mean, I can click into one and show you. This is a T-bone back surgery scheduled. So apparently this client had a previous counsel. There was jurisdictional issues, but the person needs surgery from this car accident and their surgery is scheduled. So with Attorney Share, I understand that the referring attorney is requesting a third of fees if I were to pick this up. I can watch the case, I could hide the case, I could send them a proposal. I could be like, you know what? I can give you 25% only, or I'll give you 40. I really want this case. We just released some functionality where you could actually, case managers can now submit proposals on behalf of, Jenny Simon, whatever, right? Any attorney they can submit proposal on behalf of, right? You could send them a note, you could send a proposal, you can chat with the attorney, right? All through the platform. Creating a case, I mean, pretty easy. Enter a case name, a description. You verify there's no, confidential kind of identifiable information in this public post. And then again, the new kind of feature is you can create a case on behalf of someone. So Simon Law Group, if it's a traumatic brain injury or spine injury, I'm posting on behalf of Bob Simon, right? And then I could also invite a case manager to run this case for me if I need to, right?
And this is for the operators. Like I saw Mimi Wong, who's on here, or people that have their case managers at our firm. It allows them to do what they do best, is sit in operations on their team and enter the cases. The final say is still going to go with the lawyer, but this allows people to do things much quicker.
Correct. Yep. And then like, look, the plaintiffs, the potential clients' information, you can enter that. If there's multiple plaintiffs, you could add them. This information is not shared until you select an attorney, but the goal is to make it where you post a case once, you never have to worry about it again, right? By default, it's public, but where we think, public is great if you don't have a jurisdiction, like a referral attorney in a jurisdiction or practice area. But if you do, you can pre-create waterfalls and you can pre-create as many of them as you want. So, I could see, so here, Bob's North Carolina has one and only Joe Volta in here. But for example, you can specify if you don't have a waterfall, you can choose, up to three attorneys, put them in the waterfall. You can can sort who you want to get right of first refusal. You could specify how long they each have to respond. And then our system does the shopping, right? No more texting, calling, emailing, right? And then only to have, Bob rejected, and then you need to go to the next person, right? So this system will give it to Abby. And if she accepts it, it's done. If she rejects or doesn't respond in 2 hours, it automatically goes to Aaron, right? And then if he rejects it, it automatically goes to the public marketplace. So you are now shopping it between 1 and 3 people that you choose, and then it goes to the public marketplace. And by the way, these people are unaware of the order they're in, and it's free for both you, the referring attorney, always. And if you invite an attorney through a waterfall or through an individual case, like invite here, it's free for both parties, right? Like Bob said, the only time you pay is if you take a case from the public marketplace. So, we're hoping to, get more people pushing to their existing networks. It's free for both parties. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, the good thing about here is whenever people are putting in, for instance, a trial case, or they need a specialized trial lawyer and they want to offer whatever percentage that they want, why not try to cast a wide net eventually, but try to get the best first that like invite your top 3. A lot of times we know that there's certain lawyers that like all of us are working with in LA that are literally sending the same case to like 5 of us. Well, just do it all at once and only enter it once here. That's why we created this system. We all know that we're quasi competing against each other, but at the end of the day, if you can find that match faster and only have to enter it once and save all your data, that's the A1 that we're looking for here. And for me, it makes it a lot easier for me to tell people, hey, send it to me, put me at the top of your waterfall. Even if you think it's a smaller case or a hard case, you might be surprised we say yes. You might be surprised, right? But why not give it that opportunity? So that's the way that I look at it.
And also like speed to signing, right? Like this, look, I mean, obviously 2 hours is a decent chunk of time, but again, if they hit up Bob Simon, they know they want Bob Simon, Bob posts this, right? He wants to get this placed as soon as possible, even if he's not taking it, right? And this makes that as quick as possible. And then obviously the public marketplace, you post a case, you will, and it's a decent case in attorney share, you'll get 2, 3, 5 proposals in 10 minutes. So here you could specify the fees you're looking for, either referral fees or co-counsel fees, financing, who's financing the case. We'll probably, we'll be offering some sort of financing solution if that's of interest down the road. But for now, it's just up to the firms. You select the case type, right? Jurisdiction. You could drag and drop or upload pictures, videos, PDFs, documents, you name it. And then you create the case and you're done. But we've been mentioning these integrations, these two-way integrations with case management. So this is an example. Bob Dole happened to hit up this firm here. And with attorney share, you can refer directly to within attorney share from your case management. And so we have Clio Grow Lead Docket live. We have Litify, Salesforce, Lawmatics, and Smart Advocate coming in May. And then we have My Case, CasePeer, and a few others coming quick off of that. But really, we built two-way integrations where you can automatically push the case from within your case management. And this screen pops up and pre-populates with all the information we can pull about that client. And then you enter a few pieces of information, you create the case, you're done. The flip side is if you're invited through here or accept a case through the platform, it will show up as a new matter or lead or opportunity, whatever your system calls it, directly in your case management. So, again, this is a demo Clio Grow, like Bob's. There's hundreds in here. And again, he can choose whether it's his firm or if he wants to push it directly to attorney share. So, really quick, you could see within my referrals, there's potential action that some of these cases require, and the case details here. I mentioned this, but you could see different waterfalls that Bob has created here. There's an entire member directory. So, when I said, invite specific attorneys and Bob said invite the hitters, you could search for law firm by practice area, by jurisdiction, find the best attorneys. If they're not on here, invite them. But you know, why not post this, invite Christina or whoever who's a hitter for that practice area, and if she accepts, it's free for both of you because you invited her, right? If she doesn't and it goes to the public marketplace here, it's, you know, you get you'll get a bunch of cases or application proposals from, you know, vetted attorneys in here, right? And then the last thing is this dashboard. And so just so everyone's clear, like this is a V1. We're really excited about this. We liken this dashboard to your E-Trade, but instead of stocks, it's referrals, right? Inbound or outbound. Phase one here, it's only attorney share, but we will be adding the ability to one-time upload all of your existing referrals. So, you know, we want this to be the single source of truth. No more ambiguity with, hey, Bob, how are these 28 referrals I've given you going? And Bob's like, I have 14. And so we're bickering about, you know, the number of referrals, not status updates and, you know, how do we get in touch with the client, right? And so I think that's you know, attorney share where there's a lot of features coming every day. You know, chat's getting an upgrade, flows for matching cases are getting an upgrade. You know, there's a lot of fun stuff happening, and you know, we're really looking for power users to get on here and help us make this better. You know, so you know, we want people to use it and give us feedback on how we can improve this from user experience to pricing.
And if you go to like it's going to be where people are going to be able to upload their fee agreements on here, eventually be able to track the status of these cases with automations rather than just texting people, right? Because you'll be able to see everything here. And you know, the thing is anybody can join attorney share. So there's someone that could just join. They don't have to be lawyers or law firms. It's all B2B, but law firms can have their own account. Like on ours, several lawyers have their own profile. Why wouldn't you, right? It gives bigger ability to maybe pick up cases with bigger specialties. But on the back end, we have a firm account where only certain people can actually make decisions on picking up the case.
Yeah, so this is Simon Log Repair, right? So everyone's underneath it, and what are their roles and what action or like access do they have, all that stuff.
Yeah, and that's one big thing for big firms. It's good to get onboarded as a firm to understand the workflows. While only a few people may be using it, you know, it just makes it a lot easier. Like I can log into my dashboard and see who's been sending me a lot of cases and who's been picking up a lot of our cases. That's probably a good partner for us, right? But you know, there's one of the things we wanted to put on there is the more criteria to vet a lot of these lawyers, right? So you could have attorney share vetted, which is people are making sure there's no big red flags. There's no like you have a bar license. You don't have any big disciplinary issues. And then there's the Justice HQ verified, which that's where people are in that subscription, that membership to be in that mentorship group, which is a high level community, which people have to be approved to come into. And it's a harder vetting process. So whenever you see that badge, again, it's free to use whoever you want. But we wanted to have people in that collective, that mentorship group, to have a badge on there so people know if you're sending it to them, they're part of a collective that's being held accountable and also cultivating with each other, right? So that's kind of it, but it's free for everybody to be able to do with a license. You know, I think the big takeaway here is you could do a lot of stuff free to generate referrals and sit on a platform for free to get referrals, right? So that's the gold standard. And you know, I wish they had a system like this, were able to teach us a lot like this in law school, because I was shocked to learn that I could get a referral fee with a license. I remember like the day it happened, I was like, wait, I could just refer a case and get like a third? Like, yep. You know, and, well, why wouldn't I just create a whole business around that? Well, a lot of people have done a great job doing that.
Well, and you know, the last thing I'd say about attorney share, and then we can move on from attorney share, is you know, look, I think we recognize that there are solopreneurs, there are young, you know, professionals getting started, and every dollar counts, right? And so that's why we made it free for the referring attorney 100%. And that's why we made it free if you invite someone. That's also why if you do pay a match fee for a public case and you don't sign it up for whatever reason, you will get refunded, no questions asked. Like we're not This isn't a lead gen tool. This is a CRM to facilitate referrals. And we will only charge someone that $300 if they sign the client. So, and there's tiered pricing coming somewhere between 99, 199 and 299 for matches, depending on the practice area and stuff. But that's if it's a successfully signed up case. Where can you get a successfully signed up case for $300? Nowhere, So that's, I think, another important thing that we're excited about is only kind of pay if you sign up, and if you don't, you get refunded, period. So
Yeah, and just one thing that we'll put in, some of these are, so every lead is different, right? Sometimes it's a signed case, it's been in litigation, they need a trial partner. There's a lot more data, a lot more stuff that's got to be sifted through. Sometimes it's a case where somebody's already signed, it's maybe they didn't settle in litigation or pre-lit, demand went out, there's more information, easier process, easier vetted. Sometimes these are just leads, like somebody called you, hey, I need an attorney. It's more of a, you got to vet it out a little bit process. So there's different options people will click. It's like, it's unverified lead. How does that, what's that answer on there, Alex, that if it's not
yeah,
signed?
what stage is it? Yeah, like there's different stages that you could choose, but at the end of the day, like like Bob said, there could be a lead that's like PC experienced work, and you're like, that's literally all the information someone has, or it's very detailed information about a potential lead only. That's like workplace harassment. It happened this date. Here's what happened. Here's what they experienced. Here's like the sequence of events. And then, like Bob said, you have actual signed cases they're looking to refer out or get co-counsel or whatever. But really anything is game, right? Because that's, we don't want to limit it to, I think in my experience, Bob, and I don't know about you, getting referrals, there's a lot of time where we'll get a referral and it's like med mal issue, and that's the entire lead, and it was a $15 million settlement, right? And then you get a detailed case like med mal and like 5 pages of information, and it's nothing, right? So
Yeah,
no
and
discrimination here on potential opportunities.
yeah, and somebody asked a question, keeping in mind that this, we've been live for 5 weeks and there's a lot of stuff we're going to be adding, and this is going to be one of them. But is there an eval system with an attorney share with referrals made more than accepted? So at some point, there's going to be so much data to say who's putting in more qualified, better leads. So you could see that maybe there's a review process for those types of things. There'll eventually be so much data can kind of understand the value of these cases and maybe predict who will get the best result for those cases.
Yeah, time to respond, right? Time to submit a proposal, time to reach out to like, there's so much we want to do. And our CTO has his master's in data engineering. That's like one of the things we're really excited about, putting that horsepower in. But, right now, that is like, we're starting to really think about how we kind of think through those things, beyond referral signed.
And that's where we'd like to get a think tank. Everybody wants to have like an exploratory workshop. And I know Mimi would be great as a COO. Those operators of law firms that are living and breathing this every day, there's certain pain points that you likely have that can be solved or customized with this. And that's why, I'm sure we could do, a Zoom thing or go to people's offices to make it easier for them to use. Because again, like if we can get the best case to the best lawyer as quickly as possible and then be able to cultivate these members to make sure everybody's getting the best result, everybody wins. And you could stay in the lane and do what you love to do. I talked to a lawyer yesterday that had to take a break to go on a surf trip for a while because he was so burnt out at work. And I was like, why can't you just take your surf trip and still run your practice at the same time? It's like a light bulb went off. It's like, yeah, why am I not doing that? Yeah, because you can do those things if you're intentional with it and just identify what space you want to live in and how you want to be able to do it. But yeah, I mean, I think that's why you get the mentorship groups. That's why you get into the masterminds of people that understand it and be able to have this free flow information. Yeah, and if we don't have any, whole heck of a lot more questions, I know this is, I think Julie, correct me if I'm wrong, but on the members portal of Just HQ, this will live in perpetuity, so members can watch this there. Anybody else that emails, we can probably give access to as well.
Correct. We did record. I know that there was some folks that came in kind of the back end of the webinar here today. So we do have a recording. If you want that, you can contact me at events@justicehq.com. And once that processes, I'm happy to send that over. Because we had some folks hop on in the back half, Bob, Alex, before we close out, if you can just give us a nice, beautiful summary, 2 sentences perhaps of the high points that we talked about, just in case people do want to go back and watch the full recording, just your takeaways, your main takeaways before we head out.
Yeah, the main takeaways are that you can generate a lot of cases for free using a lot of the current systems that are out there. We showed you how to do some simple back-end automations through different case management softwares or other things that can make it easier for you on the back end, whether it's from your DMs of your social media or it's from somebody clicking your website, how that auto populates into where your cases are all living, and from there it can push and automate. We talked about some very, very easy things to be able to do on social media, how you treat it like a billboard, how you were able to draw referrals from it, how you let people know you're a specialized lawyer on this end of the marketplace, how you can better use digital relationships and personal relationships in conference use to be able to find people that are getting a lot of cases that need help in other states, and you could be that partner for them, and vice versa. Like my plan is to eventually generate a lot of cases outside of my jurisdiction so that I can find the best lawyers and let them work on them and hopefully just be the hammer at the end if the case needs to be tried. That's kind of my personal goal, is to kind of retire just being a trial lawyer. So I think those are my big takeaways. How about you, Alex?
No, I think you nailed them. I think it's all about just how do you build a clean funnel, right? And I think that's being scrappy, using tools that are like free or available, and I think earning the right to progress, to spend more money, to test out new things by, getting some wins early.
Yeah, you should never say, oh my God, I'm getting too many cases, I can't keep up. That's a champagne problem that can be solved with a few probably a little bit of workflows.
Yeah, no, and look, a lot of the influencers we talk to, we know a few that literally shut off intake because they didn't have processes, right? And I showed that workflow of the inbox, kind of inbox for Instagram. So, I think last thing is, don't be afraid to leverage your McLovin license, right? Like, you've earned it, and it's not greed. It's helping get the person to the right place, and you get the benefits of doing that, right? Because you finding them the right person could double, triple their outcome, right? And you deserve to be compensated for getting them there. So
yeah, and don't be shy. I mean, there's a lot of people that I know that are very, 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 very good trial lawyers that are just sitting on the platform that are willing to, if they're free, their schedule's free, and it's like, hey, I'm willing to finance this case. Can somebody go take a swing for me in a couple of weeks? People are raising their hands, and people are shocked the caliber of lawyers that are willing to go in and do it and help. And that's kind of why we wanted to create this marketplace, because I mean, if this was available when I started my practice, like, yeah, I worked with other lawyers because they would finance the case for me. I would learn how to do it on their dime and time, right? Now you can do it a lot easier and just work. I know a couple lawyers in Just HQ that are answered ready for trial yesterday trying to get out. And I know how they, found each other, how they got the cases and worked out the percentages. And it's a beautiful thing. People are getting ABOTA points. We have a lot of, women in the courtroom that are now getting their ABOTA shields because they're picking up cases through networking and doing stuff like this. And it's a big opportunity, especially for the younger generation that's very, very good at what they do, just have not been given the reps or the opportunities. We're trying to make it very, very easy for them.
Perfect. Beautiful. Amazing. Thank you, Alex and Bob. One final thing before we go, how can folks contact you if they want to reach you on kind of a one-on-one to chat more about anything you talked about? What's the best way to contact y'all?
I just go to Planet Fun Bob and hit on my DM.
Send him an Instagram message. He'll literally always respond to you any minute of the day. Alex, how can folks reach you?
email is probably the best for me. Alex@attorneyshare.com.
Amazing. All right, folks, like I said, my name is Julie. If you do want a kind of recording of this, send me an email, events@justicehq.com. If you wanted to learn more about JHQ, come and chat. If you want to sign up for Attorney Share, you can do it right online. Otherwise, have a wonderful rest of the week, and maybe we'll do some more of these with different topics, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.